The wind howled like a wounded beast as crimson shadows rippled across the ruins of Daralanor, an ancient city wreathed in legend and despair. The blood moon glared with baleful eye, casting the shattered stones in unearthly shades of red, as if the land itself bled beneath that cursed gaze. Here, at the world's forgotten edge, walked the last scion of the Elven, Elaith Silverfrond, an elf whose name had once been sung in golden halls, now whispered in haunted taverns and fearful dreams. Elaith's cloak, the blue of night, fluttered against ancient marble, his silver hair gleaming like spun starlight. In his eyes shimmered both dread and desperate purpose, the eyes of one who had lost everything but hope, and even that worn thin by the years. Secrets weighed heavily on Elaith's slender shoulders, secrets that twisted his heart with guilt and the chill of regret. Once he had been a prodigy, wreathed in arcane glory. Once he had watched his city burn, powerless before a tide of shadow unleashed by his own folly. There had been a forbidden tome, hands trembling as they turned brittle pages, the promise of protection and the reality of destruction. Now he carried the burden of his broken bloodline and the world's last hope alone. The city of Daralanor had slumbered in ruin for centuries, its stones veined with spellfire scars, and atop them danced the restless spirits of the unburied dead. Tonight, beneath the swollen moon, something old and unspeakable stirred, the evil that Elaith's ancestors had bound with their lives, now gnawing at its chains. He was not the first to try this path. Companions had come and gone, a dwarven shield maiden whose laughter could split the night, a halfling scout, shadow swift and heart-brave, a human cleric veiled in silver faith. All were lost now, shadows claimed by greater darkness. They haunted him, their faces flickering in the red light, silent accusations in every glance from the living stones. Silently, Elaith pressed onward, his boots crunching on broken flagstones. The staff of Elwyn, ancient as the city, glowed faintly in his hand, the last relic of a house undone. Every step drew him deeper into the throat of the earth, where cold mist writhed and whispered. "I have no right to ask for forgiveness," he murmured, his voice stolen by the wind. "But let this be my atonement." Rune-carved pillars flanked his path, leaning like wounded sentinels. At their feet, coiled shadows shaped by agony, faces half seen in the gloom, lips moving soundlessly. The air grew heavy with ancient magic, thick as blood. A low, pulsing thrum rattled through the earth, the first heartbeats of something that should never awaken. His path narrowed into a collapsed basilica, moonlight spearing through shattered stained glass. Rain-slick stones gleamed like old teeth. At the center lay the Well of Vorin, where dark water mirrored the crimson sky and stains of fire danced on the surface. At the well's lip crouched something that defied words, a formless heft knitted from night, its shape shifting and dreadful. Elaith's hands trembled. He remembered the night he had pronounced the words, the ritual that had split his kin from their own spirits. His mother's soft fingers guiding his hands, his father's fierce pride. All ashes now, all for nothing. He clutched the old staff. "Hear me, spirits of Aelwyn. See the ruin your son has wrought. If I fall tonight, may my life be the seal." The shadows recoiled. The thing in the mist snapped with unearthly eyes, voids flecked with fire. A voice echoing from every broken wall slithered into his mind. "Last child of failure, you seek redemption, yet you bring only more ruin." Elaith knelt, whispering the litany of binding, each word laced with pain and hope. The staff pulsed, blue veins of light racing along its length. He felt the hungry pull from the well below, the heavy memory of every soul that had died here. The shadow lashed at him, tearing at mind and flesh. Visions swamped him. The day his city fell, the screams of old friends, his own hands stained black with magic. He sank, gasping beneath waves of guilt. But in the dark, a voice whispered, Not the evil, but a memory. The dwarven shield maiden's laughter. Get up, you fool elf. Even the blackest night ends. Gritting his teeth, Elaith rose. He flung out the staff, shouting the name of his lost house. A burst of sapphire flame roared from the staff tip, shearing into the mass of shadow. The cavern lit up, fractured faces screamed from the gloom, shapes swirling away like mist torn by wind. He pressed the attack, pouring every scrap of will, every grain of sorrow, every hope for forgiveness into the spell. The blood moon flared in response, staining the flames carmine. By the light of the fallen, by the sorrow of the living, I seal you, Elaith cried, his voice cracking with both agony and determination. With a last, thunderous shriek, the shadow buckled, drawn inexorably toward the staff's blazing heart. Spirits, his kin, his friends, all those lost, shimmered around him, their faces transfigured by peace. The air stilled. The well's waters grew clear, moonlight glancing on their surface. Elaith fell to his knees, the staff cooling in his grip. For a moment, all was silent, save for his shuddering breath and the distant toll of midnight. He stared into the well, seeing not his face, but all those for whom he had fought. The weight of guilt eased, only slightly, replaced by a new burden, remembrance. The world is safe for one more night, he whispered, a note of bittersweet triumph in his voice. It is enough. From far above, the blood moon began to wane, fading gently into silver. Wind stirred his hair, and in that breeze he heard the faintest laughter, the echo of old friends waiting at the road's end. The tale of Elaith Silverfrond would carry on, a shard of hope among legends. What would you do if you were the last of your line? If you faced the darkness alone, could you find the light within? Let us know in the comments and suggest a story. And maybe yours will be the next we see by the fire's light.